Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Becoming a well-rounded man is my philosophy. And you know what, every now and then I need to stop and just let people know what I'm teaching. And see, understand something. This is my philosophy. Now, if you don't agree with it, you don't want to follow it, and some people say, well, you know, the science says this, the studies say that, whatever. This is a way of life that I share, a philosophy as far as getting women, as far as living life. In fact, getting women, that's a commercial to the main program. Because anybody who's gotten my books, any of my books, any of my nonfiction books, they'll see, I can get into more than that. In fact, I have 2 other channels, Deep Thought, where shoot, I can go metaphysic, or just thinking in general, or you know how they might say on the streets, philosophizing. And then I also have a money channel where I'm talking about really focusing on money management, a money mindset to get the money flowing. But that's just who I am. And when I talk about everything, of course, people associate me most with body game, but that's part of being well-rounded. See, and I'm using that term well-rounded, but anybody who's really followed me a while know I'll use the term that's used in urban areas like DC, and I found out Philly, they'll use the term thorough. A thorough man. See, coming up, that thorough man, that well-rounded man, oh, he could play ball. He could play ball, but he could also throw those hands. He could also fight, but he could also talk to the ladies. Shoot, he can go to the club. He could dance, and even in school, he wasn't some dumb kid. He was actually very smart. He was actually very smart. I remember I saw that as far back as when I was in the 6th grade. I was in one of those schools that went from kindergarten to 8th grade. And I remember I was in 6th grade. There was this dude in the 8th grade. This dude, his intelligence was off the chains. Yet, like playing intramural sports and stuff, he was like the main guy. He would play on the defensive line. And people feared him, playing like intramural football or something. But his intelligence was like boom. But that's always been my philosophy. Anybody who even the term I use for my book, nice guys and players, I say, shoot, become the best of those two. Don't just be a nice guy, but don't just be a player. Become that guy who's a great combination of both. I remember I did this public access TV show back in the day. It was called Love and Happiness, and it was a panel, and they had men and women. And there was a woman on it. When she saw the title, she didn't like it. But then after we went through the show and I was fully explaining it, she said she wants her a nice player. And in fact, a lot of women have bought that book because they want that man who's on those multiple levels. Now, let me be clear about something. A lot of men have problems with that. Because they say, oh, it's impossible, it's, that's not realistic. No, they speaking for themselves. Because everything I'm talking about is not theory. I've known about thorough men since I was a child. You see it. Anybody who's been in those type of neighborhoods have seen it. There's nothing wrong with being that type who could play sports or very physically active, athletic. In fact, in high school, most of the athletes were also honor roll. Let me say that again. Most of them were honor roll. And indeed, if you look at any prep school in the country, any prep school, sports are required. And like at the military academies, you got to at least play intramural sports. So mind and body, because that's what it comes down to. But also social skills. Who's to say you can't be that guy who can go in the gym, lift heavy weights, or exercise, calisthenics, play some ball. And then, after you finish, shower, put on your suit, head to that corporate job. And then, if somebody, you got that educational background. Shoot, you went to school on scholarship. Who's to say you can't do that? Like, and I show the philosophy because what's funny? People will see me in the car videos. Like my car videos, yeah, they can be explosive. People, in fact, many people have told me they prefer car ROM. And that's cool. That's cool because, I just let it go. But some people just will see car ROM and think that's it. They don't watch they don't watch these videos when I'm just sitting on the couch. And I always said I got to get back to doing some just on the counter just to switch it up, and even in my dining room. And it's just easy to set it up this way, but I can still do it. And not to say, and actually, when I'm on my money channel, I do my videos in my office, and on my deep thought channel, and on my Saturday and Sunday videos, I do it in front of my bookcase. And that's another thing too. Who's to say you can't be that guy who can hit the gym, practice body game, but also well-read? And who's to say you can't have not just 1 but 2 degrees, maybe even multiple degrees? Because I've said several times, I've actually thought about getting a 3rd degree, maybe a PhD in sociology. And I already know what my thesis will be on. It'll be on subcultures, which I've talked about several times on my Deep Thought channel. But that's just my philosophy. See, I'm promoting something that I'm walking the talk. But anybody else can do that. If you're one of those guys who's more on the intellectual side, who says you can't hit the gym? Maybe you didn't play sports in school or something. Okay, you can still hit the gym. Or you can still take martial arts. You can still do that. Or say you more on the physical side. Who's to say you can't pick up those books? If you can read a little bit, you can read a lot. You can actually increase your reading ability. It just takes practice. That's the beauty of it. You can practice on your own. Like I remember I did a video, a clip on IG. It was like a library card challenge. And I had a few people take place. I said, hey, show your library card. And, I actually got to get back to the library. This whole COVID thing threw it off how they were doing. Because I said, shoot. But same time, shoot, I love a bookstore. That's a hot date for me, going to a bookstore. Speaking of dates, who's to say you can't be that man who's intellectual, who hits the gym, who's making money, and still do well with the ladies? Who's to say you can't be on all those levels? Who's to say you can't be that warrior who could seriously hurt somebody and defend those you love, but then go to tea time with your baby girl? Who's to say? Nobody. Because you can do it. See, understand something. When I get deeper, now I'm gonna shout out Master Yao and Yamache Morris. He promotes a philosophy he calls the House of the Man. But a lot of people actually promote it. They just use different terms, different archetypes. The House of the Man is the warrior. That's one pillar. That's the protector. That protects the family, and that protects people either physically or mentally. That's the one who's going to fight for people's rights. That's the man who's going to stand up. But the main thing, he's going to protect his family. And then the ego. The ego is that logical, rational person. That logical, rational man who can see ahead. The ego got those ego eyes. The ego can see everything. The ego can see down the road and say, you know what, there's going to be a problem. The ego can plan out for his children to go to college because he will start doing the stuff years before. He can see the problems. The ego is a leader because he can see ahead. And then there's the hunter. You got to get those resources. That's the money man in modern society. In indigenous cultures, that's the one who can go out and kill that buffalo. In this culture, it's that money man. He can go out and make that money. And then the healer. He's a restorer on one level, but if he's dealing with women, shoot, he can make that love to her. And shoot, that's the House of the Man. And I'm gonna tell you what, every man got at least one active, but all men have all 4 within them. It's just a matter of it being active. And see, all I'm talking about is bringing out everything about you. You can be a well-rounded man. Nothing stopping you from reading. Nothing stopping you from hitting the gym. And if somebody disrespect you physically, there's nothing wrong with you like defending yourself or being able to. In fact, every man should be able to physically defend yourself. I know a lot of guys in some states, you can carry that gun and everything. What if you ain't in a position to get that gun out quick? And having a gun and be able to shoot it properly to somebody coming at you is two different things. And sometimes you just might be in a position where you don't have it. And I'm going to tell you why that's important, just to be able to fight, because then a lot of men walk around out here in a state of fear. If you know you can handle yourself physically, you walk differently. And you got to think your way through stuff. The very nature of a man is to have solutions. The very nature. And then on Saturdays, what I talk about? Sovereignty. And what I've always say, you need money for sovereignty. See, I always say, hey, you don't need money to get a woman. You don't need it. It's good if you have it, but you don't need it. But I've always said, no matter what, you need it for yourself. You still want to have a place to lay your head. You still want to do the things you want to do. And then if you're going to deal with a woman, hey, like it or not, some guys like push back on it, but I'm going to address that as car wrong. But you still got to make love to that woman. And I know some guys, well, I don't have to. Okay, she don't have to make love to you either. Now, okay, fair exchange is no robbery. But it's all about just being that well-rounded man. Like I say, I promote it in my books. Anybody who's read my books, I tell you, like you get some guys, they'll read the select and non-select part. They say, I'm non-select. But if you read my books, I'm telling you how to evolve out of that. And even for the select man, how to evolve to an even higher level. And it's a journey. It ain't like a destination you're going to get to. It's something you're going to be doing all your life, because you know what? I'll take the physical thing. Now, a lot of people, they be like, oh, they'll say, oh, you old, anything. Well, I can throw up 200 pounds. Probably more if I like really push it. And I've thrown up 300 as a 50-year-old. As a man in his 50s. So, I'm still working out. After I finish recording this, I'm going to work out. Back day. So who's to say you can keep going with that? And there's some older men than me in there. So if I'm in my 50s, you got some men in their 60s and 70s at the gym still throwing it up. So that's no excuse for age. And in fact, older men need to work out, do resistance exercises anyway to keep themselves in shape. And to keep their bodies working right. So that's one. But who's to say, okay, you do that. Go to the library, go to the bookstore, get that book. Shoot, learn something new. Shoot, because some of the books I've been getting lately, I already could go deep on politics. People don't know I made my money doing political commentary a couple decades ago. Done a little bit of everything. But you got to be able to be on multiple levels, the greatest extent. And it is a journey. That's the bottom line. So I want y'all to understand that. And like I said, even if you don't like what I'm talking about on this channel, and I've had several people, they say they prefer my money channel better. They say they prefer my deep thought channel better. I'm good with that. Shoot, if I had my druthers, I'd just be doing those too. But everybody want the relationship stuff. All right. Now notice something. Even though I did say women like a well-rounded man, that corporate thug or that nice player, right? Even though I said that, right? Generally said that. It's still ultimately about you, because you want to live a life on your terms. And the more tools that you have to live that life, the better you're going to be. I want y'all to think about that. You're doing it for yourself, ultimately. I like being sovereign, being able to record something in like every single day this week or month, year. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to record this at this time because I'm sovereign. I control my life. And that's because I'm well-rounded. So anyway, that's the point. That's the whole point of everything I'm talking about. And if somebody has a problem with that, stay off the channel. And if you have a real problem or a criticism of that, show me how you're doing better in life. That's all I'm asking. Show it. How you're doing better. You see where I live? I've shown some pictures of stuff where you've seen how I dress and everything. People, and plenty of people who, when I have my bookcase in the background, have asked me about books in the background. So, you know, I can go deep, I can go political, whatever. Political, metaphysics, fun. So, if you got criticism, show me how you doing better. In fact, I want to know it. I want to know it. I can learn something. So I can learn something. So show me how you doing better that I can learn something. All right? So anyway, that's it for now. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.